How do you make a healthy, high-protein meal replacement bar at home?
Well, today on WTF, we're going to show you how to use Ultra-Stik to make a high-protein meal replacement bar to fit your needs. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, one of the owners of Modernist Pantry. And here on WTF, every week we share unique ingredients, techniques, and show you recipes that you can do in your own kitchen. So remember, subscribe and ring the bell and you'll get notified of our content that comes out on Tuesdays. And this week, we're going to be showing you how to make a high-protein meal replacement bar. And it is kind of cool. There's so many of them on the market today just because we're all so busy. Sometimes we just don't have time for breakfast, lunch, and it's easy to grab a bar. But you know, what you get in store, sometimes you don't know what's in it or you don't like what's in it. Sometimes they just don't make it the exact flavor that you want and you wish there was a little bit extra or a little bit less. So today Scott's going to teach you exactly how to do this in your own kitchen with either our recipe or whatever recipe you decide to make, because it's really that easy. So Scott, maybe where we can start off with is kind of the composition of a high protein bar. Like, what goes into it that makes it high protein?
Sure. So obviously you want some source of protein. For us, you can use two different things. You can either use egg white powder, so pasteurized egg white powder, or you can use like soy milk protein powder or something like that. Any one of those will work. The real kind of star of this is the Ultra-Stik. And Ultra-Stik is an ingredient that allows it to kind of form into that bar without much work. Really, it's just kind of adding it and allowing it to dry, and then boom, you have a bar. So yeah, you want these bars to have, you know, a good source of protein, carbs, fat, everything that's good, but it's everything that you want, right? It's not just, oh, what's this bar? I don't know what's in it. It doesn't really look like anything. It tastes kind of chewy. It's a little funny, but these are exactly what you want.
Yeah, and what kind of bar are we making today?
So this is going to be a basic, it's basically chocolate peanut butter or chocolate and some sort of nuts. And it's really delicious. It's super simple. And you can have it, I mean, it takes about 2 days to fully dry, but you can make the recipe in under 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
So it's very simple. I'm actually going to get into it now. So we took the idea of a bunch of different bars, and we wanted to make our own. So it's based, you know, it has some dates in it for that sweetness, so we're not adding a ton of, you know, sometimes these bars are so sweet, it's like they're overcompensating, right? So sometimes they have a ton of like barley malt syrup or rice malt syrup, something like that. So we did want to get a little malty flavor in there, so we used a little bit of our non-diastatic malt powder to get that kind of malty flavor. But I'm going to start with the basic ingredients, and this is all the water that goes into the recipe, so it's just a small amount of water. Then we have our dry ingredients. So here's where the Ultra-Stik is. This also has our oats and a little bit of rice flour right in there. So you can add that in. And you can notice there's not much water, right, compared to the rest of this. But that's what makes it really easy, because now it'll come out and you'll see how easily we can spread it. Then I'm going to add in my dates, right? And these are pitted dates. Always go through and just give them a pinch to make sure that they don't have the pits in them. And then I'm going to add in this is egg white powder. Okay, so the egg white powder, and this has about 50 grams per recipe.
Okay.
So when these bars are all said and done, each bar, you know, depending on the size, it can be between 12 and 15 grams of protein. So that's a solid meal, right?
Yeah. So the other day, I didn't have time for lunch, and I came downstairs. I was just like, Scott, do you have any extra bars? And it was very filling, very very filling. Definitely replaced lunch.
So I have
in a good way.
The non-diastatic malt powder. Then I have a little bit of peanut butter powder. If you don't want to use peanut butter powder, you can use your own, you know, either homemade peanut butter or your favorite brand of peanut butter. It can easily replace that, no problem. Now to add a little bit of nutrition, we're going to add in some you know, different types of vitamins and minerals. We have nutritional yeast flakes that also adds a bit of savoriness to it. Just don't go overboard with it. And then we have some flaxseed meal, which has a little bit of protein but some fiber, so everything in there. And I'm going to add in the nuts last. You can do one of two things. If you want them real smooth and just kind of like a homogeneous bar, you can add in all the ingredients now and mix it up until it's like almost like a paste. I like to add in the nuts just at the end so I can kind of chop them up and just barely kind of incorporate them so you get a little bit more texture out of it, but that's all up to you.
Okay. And one thing that I'm noticing is that a few weeks ago we did an entire episode all around Ultra-Stik. You can find that in the links in the description below. In that, we talk mostly about prehydrating the Ultra-Stik,
Yep.
but in this case, we're just dumping it in with everything else.
Yeah, since I'm not trying to stick whole pieces together,
Okay.
This will just hydrate right in there as I go to mix it. It's not going to clump up or anything. It's very simple. So let's get this going. And yeah, we don't have to worry about it. It's doing its job right now.
Okay.
Pretty simple. So you can see it's starting to come together. Right. I can let it go a little bit longer too. So once I let it go a little bit longer, all those sugars and stuff are going to start coming out in the dates themselves.
Yeah, and I'm sure people are wondering, you know, what if I'm doing a vegan diet? What if I'm doing keto diet? Can they just substitute anything in?
Yeah, so pretty much the Ultra-Stik allows you to do anything that you want. That's what makes it really amazing, is that you can put in just about any ingredients into here. The Ultra-Stik is going to allow them to dehydrate and have that really nice texture. Like you can see on the outside and here, if I press on it, there's nothing on my hand. It's really amazing. Obviously, you probably don't want to eat that one now that I touched it, Janie, but you understand, like, it's not going to stick to you. If you put it into a bag, you're not going to have to rip the bag off the outside, all that stuff. Okay. So good. So I'm going to put in my nuts here. Press it down just a little bit.
Yeah, and this is also great because Ultra-Stik itself is an allergen-free ingredient. So you can pretty much add in whatever. If you have any allergens and you want to avoid certain ingredients, you can totally do that too.
Yep, exactly. So, just let this go. It's extremely simple. So when I take it out of here, and I pull out this here. And when I scoop it out, I can press it into the shape that I want and allow it to dry. So it's a little crumbly, but it is very sticky.
Yep.
And you can take this, press it into the shape that I want, and then you can garnish the top. And what we're going to garnish with today, shape that you want.
And once they're ready to dry, do you dry it in the oven? Do you dry it?
So yeah, good question. If you have a dehydrator, pop it in the dehydrator. That's going to be the easiest, just because it's not going to have any chance to burn, or it's not going to take up your oven space, right? But if you don't have a dehydrator, I would turn on the oven as low as possible, shut it off just to make sure it's completely dry, and then once it's started to cool, you could pop these in and allow it to sit for 24 hours. At that 24-hour mark, you can cut them. So they're completely easy to cut. I would just peel it off whatever non-stick mat you're on. And then after that 24 hours, if you want it to be drier, you can pop it back in for another 24.
Okay.
So it's about 48 hours to make sure, you know, it's completely set to your liking. But if you like it a little bit more loose, you could do it. But after the 24 hours, you could pick it up and eat it if you wanted to.
Okay. I'm going to pick up one of these pieces.
So yeah, you can just garnish it with some chocolate right over the top. I like to do about 70% chocolate, just so there's not too much added sugar, but you may get a little, pop of caffeine in there, a little bit of extra, flavor.
And what I really like about our recipe, I think Scott mentioned it earlier, like this is not very sweet. This is just a hint of sweetness, which is what I like personally. And I think, isn't that because, like most of the time when you're buying a store-bought one, like they're using like basically sugar syrup as a binder,
they're
right?
using sugar syrup, but it doesn't have to be called sugar syrup. It can be called other things. So exactly. They're using some sort of binder that's either honey or a sugar-based syrup, right? And when you do that, you end up with a very sweet flavor. This one comes all naturally from the dates itself. The majority of the sugar is in here. So just a little sprinkle of salt over the top, and then you can pop them in the dehydrator or pop them in the oven and let them dry.
Cool. So you can get this particular recipe on our blog. All the links will be in the description below. But like we said, you can play around and make whatever you like. You can take things, remove things. If you do try anything cool and you think it's amazing, leave it in the comments. Let us know what you did. Or if you have any questions about Ultra-Stik, about how do you make these bars and protein content, all this stuff, leave that as well. We like hearing from you guys. And you can watch us do this entire video on this channel in about a couple of days, or right now on our Instagram at Modernist Pantry. So from here to Test Kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Scott Kelly. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell so you get notified when we drop a new video.
To get today's recipes and all of our recipes, remember to go to blog.modernistpantry.com where you'll get recipes, ask a chefs, tips and tricks, and more.
And if you haven't already, tell a friend so they know what's going on here at WTF.
And as always, to get any of the ingredients you saw today, you can go to modernistpantry.com to shop.
And until next time, we'll be here in the Test Kitchen helping you create memorable and magical experiences.